Hey y'all, this is Tony with another episode of Drink About It Raleigh. Today I got my friend Owen Jones here that represents Cathead Distillery. Great vodka, we'll be talking about that in just a couple moments. Owen is a Raleigh native and we got to know each other through the restaurant scene as he's a representative of Cathead Vodka and their other products. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being a part of this with us. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, Tony. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
So I'm drinking Cathead martini there.
It's good. I'm drinking the honeysuckle. Autumn's great, but the honeysuckle, kind of nice little twist for today with the nice sunset.
Yes.
That. Yeah. So you're a Raleigh native, like we said. So tell us from you being a Raleigh native here, what does it mean? What does Raleigh mean to you, and how do you see that?
Well, Raleigh's home. I grew up here. Obviously went to high school here, even went to college here down the road at NC State. Go Pack. Great win this past weekend. And then graduated from NC State with a history major. Okay. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with that. I'd been working on the restaurant industry while I was going to school at NC State. Waited tables at P.F. Chang's over at Crabtree Valley. And, I had a lot of Raleigh, but kind of wanted to get out. So I spread my wings and traveled a little bit, went out west and lived out there for a little bit. And that was a great experience for me. But, the time came. I met my now wife out there, and she's from North Carolina, from the Outer Banks area. Nice. And we wanted to mainly be back close to our family. And Raleigh has really everything you need to offer. I mean, with not only just my family being here, the restaurant scene is great and growing. I mean, the city's growing. I mean, after leaving for a few years and coming back, it's just amazing how much it had grown. We've been back now for about 2.5 years, and it's been just really cool to see the evolution of this city.
It's pretty impressive.
Come to what it has.
You say the same thing that I say and everybody that comes on the show says about Raleigh. It's a great place to live. We're all happy about it. It kind of fills everything you look for in a lifestyle. So I call it Raleigh-centric. Like, that's a lifestyle that we have. And your wife, represents the Outer Banks. We have the beach on one side, the mountains on the other. So It really is a great place to have a lifestyle. Tell us about Cathead and how you found your way to be a representative for Cathead Distilleries.
So I moved out to Raleigh and I've been working in the restaurant industry out west and continue to do so when I moved back. I don't know if you're familiar with Hibernian Company and now Hanley's Group.
I think everybody's familiar with that.
Yes, he's got a few restaurants out there and more to come. The food court, so I was working with them. But, a part of me had a little itch to try something different. Try something different from working in the restaurants. And through a friend, I'd met the sales manager for South Carolina who had started introducing Cathead into North Carolina. His name was Sanders. And at that time, in life, timing really can be everything. And Cathead was looking for a full-time sales manager for the state of North Carolina, but based in Raleigh. And I was like, well, that's right up my alley. I'm looking to do something like that. And so we discussed it, and they brought me on, and it's worked out ever since. It's been a fun challenge, but since then now for about 2 years, I've been working with Cathead, based here in Raleigh, but traveling our beautiful state, meeting with restaurants, bars, getting us into the ABC stores, and really just building our brand and building our name here in North Carolina, which has been a challenge, but really rewarding.
You bring up a good point. Any kind of sales job is going to be difficult, and certainly something as competitive as the spirits industry. And so Raleigh has a very vibrant, strong nightlife, and there's so many bars and so many restaurants, which means there's a lot of competition. What are some of the challenges that you find trying to introduce Cathead and make it a dominant figure in the bar scene?
I will have to say that we've gotten with some great restaurants and great restaurant groups. I know you were supporting us from the very beginning at Bloomsbury Bistro. And then places like Ashley Christensen and her restaurants and Pools Diner and Fox Liquor Bar has supported us for a long time. And it helps that the story of Cathead being the first legal distillery in Mississippi.
That's a good story.
Yes. So let me briefly tell you about how kind of Cathead and how that came about. Cathead itself started back in 2010. Two good buddies, Richard and Austin, loved distilled spirits, worked variously through the service industry and spirits industry, and wanted to start the first legal distillery in Mississippi. And
Which
so
had to be a big challenge.
Oh, it was a huge challenge. And by doing that, they also want to pay tribute to something they love, which is blues music. And Mississippi, as we know, is the birthplace of blues music. And so that's where the Cathead name comes from.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a nod to those blues musicians. They kind of started coining the phrase back in the 40s and 50s. The jazz cats, blues cats, those cats can play. All kind of started through that. And certain ones.
That's neat. I didn't know the full story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Pat Thomas used to make the little figurines. So, yeah, They convinced the Mississippi State Legislature to allow the first legal distillery in Mississippi. Yeah. And part of it, too, was back in 2008, 2009, the economy wasn't doing very well, especially in Mississippi. So by them convincing them to open up their own distillery, they would produce more jobs for the state. And so that kind of was a good selling point. Exactly. And more tax money. So that's kind of how Cathead came about. And we use all natural corn that's locally harvested in Mississippi for our original vodka here. And it's 6 times distilled and filtered. And we use a very high-grade carbon filtration. So there's very little impurities in the vodka. The corn gives a little bit of sweet notes. But it's very smooth. It is very smooth. It's very smooth. Like all of them. It's easy to drink on the rocks, which is what I like to do. Yes. One thing in particular, like I noticed in the videos I was watching a few months ago, and even a couple years or a year ago, they were hand bottling this stuff. Like, yes. So are they still hand bottling, or they have like? Yes, we still have our bottling line. Our bottlers, they're still putting it in there, bottling by hand, slapping. It's going through. The labels are getting slapped on by a machine, but I mean we're monitoring every label going through, touching every bottle to make sure it looks good before we package it. I mean, yeah, we are still a small boutique brand, independently owned, not like your larger brands, like your Absolutes, your Stolies of the world. And I mean, even Tito's, they're still technically family owned and operated, but they've gotten so big, they're pumping out millions and millions of gallons of vodka. It's hard for them to still be considered, a small craft boutique brand. And also one cool thing about Cathead that sets us apart a little bit is we have unique flavoring. So like our honeysuckle flavor here, we use all-natural honeysuckle extract, pure Louisiana cane sugar. Yeah, the one you're sipping on now. It's nice, smooth, get this floral notes. It is good. And, it's flavors like that that help us get the name out and get into restaurants. Because like you said, it's very challenging. It's habits. As a bartender and being in the restaurant business for a long time, it's about people's habits. It's hard to get people to change their habits. Like for me, for years, I'd order, can I get a Kettle One and tonic? It just rolled off my tongue everywhere I went. So lots of times as bartenders, it's great for us to have a product like Cathead that we can engage the guests. Like it works for us too. Like this, a talking point. We can engage in conversation and then talk about something good like this. Yes. When you talk about boutique, can we just cover these? Yeah, of course. And so then the other one is our pecan vodka. All natural pecans. You can tell it's brown. So we add the roasted pecans to our original vodka, let it sit for 6 weeks in stainless steel barrels before we bottle it. It even has a little bit of cinnamon and clove spice added to it for a nice little spice. So coming this time of year, it's great for cocktails in the fall. Really screams Christmas and fall. And then we started doing a gin as well. And one thing about this, there's no artificial colors to this. Like this is all. No, we don't use any artificial flavor in anything for all of our stuff. Cool. And we make it all in-house, of course. I mean, from the mashing of the grain of the corn to the fermenting to start making the alcohol fermentation, and then the distillation process of where we're distilling it 6 times. And then we use, of course, our regular vodka to make all of our flavors. This one down here is very unique. It's a chicory liqueur. You'll notice it's dark black. We age our vodka in used bourbon barrels for 110 days. We do 110 days because going with the myth of the Pablo Legba and the black magic surrounding a lot of blues, the Mississippi Delta. I think about that. Robert Johnson, who said to sold his soul to the devil to play guitar at the crossroads in Mississippi, that's Highway 61 and 49, or the crossroads. So add those together, you get 110. And so that's why we do it 110 days and use bourbon barrels. Yeah, exactly. Everything's got a story. Even our Bristow gin here, you'll notice obviously is a different name, like the Hoodoo. I like the story on this one, by the way. It's a good one. So the Bristow story, one of our founders, Richard Patrick, they had started Cathead, making vodka, and he was getting married. And his wife is from South Carolina. Her grandfather's a judge there, and he loved gin. I think his favorite was Beefeater. So, it's kind of styled after your London Dry. But he gave Richard a hard time. He said, you're marrying my daughter and you got a distillery, but you're only making vodka. Why aren't you making gin? I mean, what good are you if you're not making gin? So Richard's like, all right, we'll make a gin. And they made the first batch and they gave it to him as a gift at the wedding and named it after his wife's maiden name. That is Bristow, as Judge Bristow. So that's where the name comes from. And the judge loved it. And everybody at the wedding loved it. So it's like, well, let's just keep making gin. And so that was back in 2013. And we've been making it ever since, and we even number and label every batch. Hey, can we get a shot of that, maybe? Yeah, and you'll notice the family seal and the little story. We even list all of our botanicals on there too, which is really unique and different. You don't really see too many places, too many gins doing that. So you can tell we pay a lot of attention to detail, and we put a lot of work into our craft.
You do. You know, I first tried this when you brought it into North Carolina. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know. A year ago.
Yeah. Yes.
Time all runs together, especially when you drink like I do. But you brought this in, and like I tasted it, and like I really fell in love with it, and I introduced it to a lot of my customers, and we ran out of it pretty fast. Like, and but it's challenging to get it back in stock. You know, we talked about that before with the ABC challenges.
So technically, going to your ABC, we only have, as far, not to get into too many details to bore everyone about how our state runs their liquor laws, we technically only have our two main products listed in the state. So that means they're listed, they're in the state warehouse, they're in all the ABC stores, you can get them in the ABC stores. So our original and honeysuckle vodkas are on the shelves in the ABC stores. Now, being listed, they've got to sell a certain amount, produce a certain profit threshold to stay listed.
Okay.
So therein lies a little bit of the challenge, because being a small distillery,
it's hard to keep up with that criteria.
Exactly. We don't have as much of the ways and means as some of your larger brands with the deeper pockets to just kind of like throw promotional money out there,
right.
Give out free stuff and stuff like that. A lot of it falls on my shoulder as the sales manager to make sure that we're in restaurants and getting out there. And then the pecan, the hoodoo, and the Bristow gin, they're available to the restaurants, but through the state ABC, they're like what you call a special order item. So restaurants have to buy a certain amount. We make it a 3-bottle case. They have to pay for it up front. And then we get the order for those. And then once we get the order, we deliver them to the state. And the state delivers them to the ABC board. And then the restaurant can bring them over to the ABC board.
It's a very efficient process.
Yes. And North Carolina is a really obviously growing state.
Yep.
And you're seeing a lot more smaller craft distilleries come up around the state, and so a little bit more competition there.
There's
and
a lot of competition.
There's some great distilleries out there, and being a North Carolina distillery, they don't have to sell as much, so and they're kind of guaranteed a spot in the stores, being a North Carolina product, which is understandable. They want to support their own and their own local one, but it obviously is going to make it a little more tougher, more difficult for us out there.
But on the other side of that too, Raleigh is one of those things where y'all does really mean all, and it even means in the competition. Amongst the restaurant industry, like we all help each other. Like all the chefs, even though they're competing for their brand, you see a sense of community. Cathead fits in perfectly with that. And like you fit perfect with it. I think everybody knows who you are. Like you're really involved in the community. And like Cathead still has a strong presence here in Raleigh. Like for example, you guys did a big thing with Meals on Wheels with Ashley Christensen.
We want to give back, so we want to stay true to our word. One of the biggest ways we give back, and being a tribute to Mississippi Blues, and why you see Support Live Music on the bottle, is we donate $1 of every bottle of vodka sold to nonprofits that work with musicians.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and and actually one of the biggest nonprofits that we work with is located in North Carolina, about 45 minutes down the road in Hillsborough, North Carolina. They're called the Music Maker Relief Foundation. So they've been around for 23 years. Tim Duffy started that, and they take a lot of older blues musicians, and they help them get gigs, they help them get labels, they basically help pay their bills and stay on their feet. And so they go in, and because a lot of these guys get lost in the cracks, and after a while playing, and they're either backup bands or whatever have you. And so they go in and help them out. And maybe
that's a really good cause.
Of course. No, yeah, we do that a lot. And so you'll see that parlay. Like recently, the Anchor Bar, for example, in Raleigh, we did a little event with them. They had a live musician at the Hopscotch Festival, and go in and promote. Because the more the more booze they're selling, the more musicians they're helping out.
Right.
Another one we're big into is the Southern Foodway Alliance. That's based out of Oxford, Mississippi, something that Ashley Christensen's really big into.
Okay.
That kind of started the discussion on the whole farm to table aspect, and like educating.
Which is so big.
Exactly. And educating like the history of Southern cuisine and where it all comes from. And so she's really big on that. And so we do a lot with them. They had their summer symposium this year in Charlotte. So we were down there. In a lot of ways, we give back to these organizations by donating products. So like the ones you were talking about, Meals for Wheels, but actually, I donated some liquor for them to pour at the event to make it easy on them, so they don't have to go purchase it. And just, kind of help out in any way that we can for anyone that's wanting to put together a good cause, any way we can help. And a lot of times that's, donating product to that cause and letting them pour that to, help entice people to come in and spend money.
We're looking forward. We're trying to put together a project in January so we can do a vodka dinner. I think you're doing one in Wilmington coming up.
Yes.
We want to try to do one in January and help local causes here. One thing that for us is like the food bank for Under One Roof. among other causes. And we're going to do like a little, what do you call it? Social enterprise.
Yes.
Business model. So we'll actually buy the vodka from you so you can actually make money and have it. And the restaurant we host it at will make money. And then the local community makes money too as well. So it's like, we like that. So I didn't realize $1 of every bottle went to help the live musicians. If you told me that, I probably didn't remember. So,
oh, that's all right. Yeah, and, there's a few of the foundations that we support there. Of course, they're all across the Southeast. But the Music Maker is one of the coolest ones. And it helps with the selling point because you find, I mean, not only it's a great product, but a lot of places will bring it in and support it because of that fact.
Right.
It does make a big difference, especially with places that have live music going on and musicians who play there. Because I'm not a musician myself. I love listening to live music, love dancing a lot to it, and getting out there and having a good time.
Yeah.
But
so how does this do? Like there's a lot of musicians or like with NC State over on Hillsborough Street over there in that way. Do you guys have a strong presence over there? Like, have you been on campus?
I haven't done too much promotion on campus. I mean, you got to be a little watch yourself on what you're doing as far as tastings and events, because there's liquor laws out there, and you have to have certain permits.
Pesky liquor laws.
You can't just go around just giving liquor out to everybody.
In a better world, we could.
Yeah. Oh yeah. In some places you can, but it's a little more restricted here. But no, we do have a growing presence on Hillsborough Street. There is a few bars over there that carry us, mostly the honeysuckle vodka. But it's growing, and it's cool to see it growing. We've grown ever since I started working with them. We still have a long way to go, but it's really nice. It's a great community to be a part of, and it's great to grow with Raleigh and grow with this community, and and really help out, whether it's a food for thought or a place at the table, or even this month we're out there trying to promote pouring pink cocktails with our vodka to help promote and support the breast cancer awareness.
That's cool. We're going to get on board with that. We're going to start. I'll put together some Cathead Cosmos.
Yeah. So
you guys have good recipes on your website, right? Like I think I went there, so you can check out their website.
Definitely check out the website. Great information on the website. Great cocktail recipes on the website. Especially with the honeysuckle vodka, because it is unique, and a lot of people wonder, what is good to make with the honeysuckle. But I mean, you can put it in your typical just vodka sodas. It's delicious. It goes great with any citrus.
And even on the chicory, you can just pour that over a little ice cream. Or I mix it with coffee, and it's good. Like the coffee, it really makes a difference with that.
Or with a little bit of bourbon, as we're getting into the colder months now. Yeah. So, that helps warm you up a little bit. Same thing with the pecan vodka, great for the fall time. And, make a little old-fashioned with it. And, of course,
and you know what else, too? There's great drink recipes and inspiration on Cathead's Instagram. They do a great job of featuring bars and restaurants and venues that carry your product. And they've got some great drink ideas on Instagram. You guys
check that out. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. We love to support. If a restaurant bar is going to bring us in and put a killer cocktail out there on the menu, we want to show it off. We want to promote it. We want to do our part to help out to promote that.
You're
to
really
get things
great to work with. Like you're on point. You're always willing to help. You've got some great ideas. So I really enjoyed working with you.
Oh yeah, no, of course, Tony. I've enjoyed working with you, man. And this is it's always good to be able to chat and get the good word out.
And Owen, thank you so much for being on the show with us. I really appreciate it. Taking the time to talk with us. I got one more question though. It'll be a tough one. What's your favorite song?
That is a tough one. There's a lot of good music out there. Love the Rolling Stones. They did a lot of tribute to blues back in the day, but always been a fan of the Who. So I have to say, "Who Are You" by the Who from their Who's Next album. Really rocks it out. Nothing like listening to that before going into.
It's a good song. It's a good inspiring song. It really is.
Yeah, getting out there and getting after it.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers to you and here's to Cathead.
Yes, sir. Cheers, y'all.